Bleeding the brakes on your car. Now, you might be wondering, why is this so important? Over time, air can sneak into your brake lines, causing that spongy, soft pedal feel. That air messes with your stopping power, and when you're hauling heavy loads or driving in tough conditions, that's the last thing you want. Some signs it's time to bleed your brakes include a mushy or soft brake pedal, increased stopping distance, or a pedal that slowly sinks to the floor. Not good. Brake fluid might look clean when it's new, but it's hygroscopic, meaning it absorbs moisture from the air, and moisture leads to corrosion, lower boiling points, and brake fade. That's the chemistry working against you. My recommendation, bleed your brakes every 2 to 3 years, or anytime you change components like calipers, master cylinders, or brake lines. In this video, I'll walk you through how I bleed the brakes step by step, whether you're using the one-man method, a vacuum pump, or the classic two-person technique. Let's get into it, because safe stopping starts with solid brakes. As you can see here, the fluid in this reservoir is dark, which is a clear sign that it's old and contaminated. Brake fluid should be a light amber or clear colors when it's fresh. Over time, it absorbs moisture and debris, causing it to darken and lose effectiveness. This not only reduces braking performance, but can also lead to internal corrosion in your brake system. First, I'm going to pull the old fluid out of this reservoir using this big syringe. If you don't have a syringe like this, no worries. You can use a turkey baster or any tool that lets you safely remove the fluid. The goal is to get as much of the old, dirty brake fluid out before we start bleeding the system with fresh fluid. If you accidentally spill brake fluid, make sure to wipe it off immediately. Brake fluid is highly corrosive and can strip paint if left sitting on the surface. Use a clean cloth and plenty of water to rinse the area thoroughly to prevent any damage. After I pull out the old fluid, I'm just going to fill the reservoir with fresh brake fluid. It's important to check your owner's manual or simply look at the cap on your brake reservoir to make sure you're using the correct type. For example, this truck takes DOT3 brake fluid. Using the wrong type can reduce braking performance or even damage the system, so always double check before you pour. After I filled it up, I'll place the cap back on to keep dust and debris from getting in, but I won't tighten it down just yet. We still need to bleed the brakes, and leaving it loose helps the fluid flow more smoothly through the system. Now, for this particular car and most car out there, you'll want to start with the passenger rear wheel first because it's the farthest from the master cylinder. When bleeding brakes, you always want to start with the wheel that's furthest away and work your way closer. This helps push all the old fluid and air out of the lines more effectively. So the correct order on most cars and trucks like this one is passenger rear, passenger front, and then driver front. But always check your owner's manual or service guide in case your vehicle has a different setup, especially if it has ABS. Now, before I break the bleeder valve loose, I like to spray a little lubricant like WD-40 on it to help it come off more easily, especially if it hasn't been touched in a while. I always start with a long socket to break it loose gently and avoid stripping it. Here's how I set this up. I'm using a long clear tube connected to the bleeder nipple, link for the tubing in the description. Then I run the tube upward and tape it to the top of the body to help keep air from flowing back in. From there, I let the tube drip down into a drain pan. I'm also using this small clip to secure the tube to the edge of the pan so the fluid doesn't spray everywhere. Just make sure the tube isn't pinched. Fluid needs to flow out smoothly. Using an open-end wrench, carefully break open the bleeder valve. Then hop in the truck and press the brake pedal a few times to get things moving. Come back out and check if fluid is coming through the tube. If it is, go back in and press the pedal about 8 to 9 more times. As you can see here, the new brake fluid is starting to push out the darker old fluid through the line. This is a good sign that the fresh fluid is flowing properly and the old, contaminated fluid is being flushed out of the system. When you see the fluid running clear like this, you're good to go. Tighten up the bleeder valve and move on to the next wheel in the sequence. Make sure to keep an eye on the brake fluid reservoir and top it off as you go. You don't want the fluid level to drop below the minimum line. If it runs empty, air will get back into the system and you'll have to restart the entire bleeding process from the beginning. So check it often and keep it filled with the correct brake fluid. Now moving on to the next one, the driver rear. It's the same process. Spray a little lubricant on the bleeder valve, break it loose with a socket or wrench and connect your clear hose. As you can see here, the new fluid is starting to push out the old darker brake fluid through this hose. After about 8 to 9 presses on the brake, you should start seeing clear fluid without any bubbles. Then you can tighten the bleeder valve and move on to the next one, which is the front passenger side. Now I'm going to fast forward through this part since it's the same step as before. After the front passenger side, the final one is the driver front. It's the same process. Loosen the bleeder valve, connect the hose, and pump the brake until the fluid runs clear. Just remember to check your brake fluid reservoir regularly, or at least after finishing each wheel. You don't want it running low or empty, or you'll risk introducing air back into the system and have to start all over again. After you've bled all 4 sides, don't forget to top off your brake fluid reservoir to the proper level. And that's it. You're all done. Take your car for a test drive. If the brakes still feel mushy or you notice longer stopping distances, you may need to repeat the process. In some cases, it could point to a failing brake calipers or brake master cylinder. To learn the symptoms of those issues, check out the videos linked right here. And if you found this video helpful, be sure to like and subscribe for more DIY car repair tips.